So we do a writing assignment about plugging something into the calculator. So there's a couple of things that we're going to do to motivate you to write today. Some good and some bad. Hopefully it'll all be good today. All right. We don't want to do anything bad. But guys, the simple fact is I have to turn in a writing assignment. I have to. Okay. Even if you don't want to write, and I get that y'all don't want to write, we have to do it eventually. Okay. So get it done today. All right. Now, by getting it done today, a couple of good things are going to happen depending on how much you write. First off, this is a test grade today. All right. Now, by being a test grade, if you will fill up this page, and we're going to talk about some ideas to help you out. Okay. If you fill up this page, this is a 100. Imagine what a 100 test grade does for your grade, especially when 70% of us failed yesterday's test or quiz. Okay. Imagine what this 100 does for that grade. I know. Okay. The second thing, if you get at least half a page or more, then when you get done today, you get a piece of candy. Okay. I'm trying to make this as good for y'all as what I can. All right. I'm going to give you a piece of candy today because I know y'all are being tortured right now. Okay. Now, before we kind of get to this, we're going to talk about a problem. Okay. To kind of get your minds.
So that's what we're writing.
Pretty much. Yes. And it's something you know how to do. Okay. But what we're going to help you do today is talk about how you can actually, put some of this down on paper. Okay. So I'm going to tell you something that's probably going to surprise you. Okay. And that is, y'all know I hate to read, right? I hate to read with a passion. I talk about my passion for hating reading. I mean, we talk about that all the time. But what y'all don't know is I love to write. I absolutely love to write. And that probably is going to throw you off, but I write poetry. I have written things that have been published in books. I've been published in magazines. And I've been published in newspapers. I absolutely love to write. Okay. Now, why do I love to write? I had a teacher that in the 6th grade that turned writing into math for me. Okay. It became a math thing, not a creative thing. Okay. And so I could write very basic things, and I wasn't great at writing, but I didn't fear it anymore because writing to me was mathematical. She gave me a list of things to do. And to me, that's math. Okay. And she was like, make sure you do this, make sure you do this. And I followed that list and it became mathematical. Okay. And I could do that. But then my senior year, I took a class called creative writing. And this dude would make us write for 5 minutes. Like our pencil was not allowed to stop moving. And he said, there is nothing that you put on this paper that's wrong. And he's like, if you can't think of anything, I literally had to write no, until something popped in my head. And he said, I don't care what you write, just write. The number one thing that usually keeps kids from writing is they think they're doing it wrong. So they don't put anything. Does that make sense? Okay. They're like, no, that's a stupid idea. And I'm telling you today, there are no stupid ideas. Okay. I'm not grading this for punctuation. I'm not grading this for, did they use these beautiful words or, anything like that. I'm grading on length. Okay. I'm grading on length. That's it. We just need you to write and write and write. And if it's wrong, it's wrong. We'll deal with it. Okay. I do want you to try to write the best you can, but if it's wrong, it's wrong. Okay. But just write and see what happens. Okay. And then, like I said, if it's bad, it's bad. We'll live with that. Okay. Some of y'all, if you refuse to write, yes, like I said, they're going to stay on me, and we have to keep doing this until you write. So yeah, we have to start doing things like taking away cell phones and making you miserable. I don't want to do any of that. Okay. So please just get this done today. All right. There's classes that they may end up pulling you out of to make you sit there and do nothing but write. We have to turn this in. I am on your side. I don't want to do this, but we have to do this every year, okay? We do this every year. And what I can tell you is I've never had anybody not get this writing assignment done. It's always taken a couple of days, maybe, to get a few people. It's best just to get it over the first day. You're not getting candy after today, so today you get candy, all right? So get it done today, all right? So let's talk about what we need you to write. So especially if you're not sure what to write, I need you to pay attention, okay? Really watch this so that you, now, the only difference is I'm not going to put this in complete sentences as to where we want you to put this in a complete sentence, right? So the assignment today says, let me read it. It says, explain in complete sentences how to solve a system of linear equations. This is a system of linear equations, okay? In the calculator, okay? Be specific with each step, keys to press. Guys, I know that y'all could be like, where you put it in the calculator and type in the equations and hit enter and you get your answer. We want you to say every stupid little thing that you do, okay? For instance, would I create a sentence that says, you grab the calculator and you press the on button? Yes, I would, because that's a whole sentence right there, okay? I want you to write everything that you can that is going to stretch this out to make it as long as we possibly can. Does that make sense? Okay. Now, on this right here, it does not give you an equation. I don't care if we use this equation. So I don't care if you say something like, today we're going to work out blah, 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 and write down that equation. Does that take up more space? Yes, it does. Fill this up with needless stuff that you don't need, but fill the space up. Okay, so let's talk about some stuff that we do. So where do we plug this into the calculator? All right, so first off, we go to calculator, right? So we need to make sure somewhere that you're putting in that you click on the calculator button, right? Calculator, I hope I spelled that right. I said I love to write. I didn't say I was spelling stuff correctly or anything like that. Believe it or not, most of the stuff I've been published in, my mom and my aunt both were English majors. So it's kind of funny that I hate English, but so I send it to them and then they edit everything and send it back and then I send it in to be published. So I don't do any of that stuff like grammar. Okay, I'll let somebody else do that. And I don't want you to worry about it. Do the best you can, but don't worry about it. Okay, then at some point you're going to hit the buttons, menu 3-2, right? And we need to see that in there. So when I'm reading this, we need to see that in there. Okay, we're typing in the equation. Okay, so we're typing in the equations, right? So you need to talk. You're just explaining what you're doing. And each step, make it a sentence, right? And like I said, what I got to get you over is this idea, like I said, I'm going to push the on button to turn the calculator on. Like you're like, well, that's stupid. They know that. No, we're going to put that in there because, that's filling up space. Does that make sense? So don't think anything today is too dumb. Does that make sense? You're going to write every little thing that you're doing. And what I would do is like do it in the calculator and write it down at the same time, pretty much. Does that make sense? And just do, as you're doing it, write it down in sentences, all right? So we're going to type in the equations, okay? We've got to hit enter, okay? And then it's going to give us the answer, right? Now, that doesn't seem like a whole lot. So let's talk about other things. Let's talk about sometimes we get no solution. Do y'all remember what the calculator says when it's no solution? It said no solution says no solution. Oh. So even though this problem I don't think will be no solution, I don't think that's no solution. You can talk about, hey, sometimes you've got to be prepared for no solution, right? So when you type it in, this is what the calculator says. Now, what about infinite? Sometimes we get infinite. Does anybody remember infinite? It's the weird, crazy C's, right? So you can talk about that. The calculator is going to give you the crazy C's. Crazy C's. Okay. That's not crazy fives. That's crazy C's. All right. And then maybe the last thing you could talk about would be maybe like sometimes you get an error message because you typed it in wrong, right? So you could talk about maybe, sometimes you get an error message. Usually that means we typed it in wrong, and therefore you need to go back and make sure you typed it in right. Guys, I'm telling you, that should at least fill up half a page, at least. A lot of y'all should easily get to a full page and get a 100. If you get to a half a page, that'll be a 70. Okay, so you get 3/4, you're looking at a good 85 grade right there, which still will help based off yesterday's test. Okay, the biggest thing is that we've just got to get you to see that you can't sit there and go, well, I suck at grammar, therefore I'm not going to write anything. No, then suck at your grammar. Own it. I suck at grammar. I own it. Okay, I just write, and then later on I ask somebody to fix it. Okay. Do the best you can to put it in complete sentences. But in the end, if you suck, own your suckiness. Okay, I'm a math teacher. I don't care. Okay, all I got to do is turn in this paper. Okay, your grade is solely on the length. Okay, so we've got to start writing. All right. I don't mind if for some reason it helps you that you're listening to music, but you can't just be sitting there and playing on your phone at this point. You have to start writing. Once you are done, I don't mind if you play on your phone, okay? Now, after about 20 minutes, I do need to go over some math stuff today. So we're going to do just a little bit of math today. But, if you're still writing at that point, I will let you keep writing. But we are going to start going over math at some point, okay? So just start writing. I've got you some stuff to write about right there, okay? I would personally start typing this into the calculator and start writing it down as you're typing, okay? If you'll do that, I promise this gets a whole lot easier. And just try to put everything in a complete sentence. First, I'm going to do this. Next, I'm going to do this. Third, I'm going to do this. Any kind of words like this, and just tell me what you're doing step by step by step, okay? Stretch it out as much as you can. We are going to introduce a concept to you today. We're only going to talk about it a little bit, just simply because we don't have much time. Of the new stuff, because this new stuff is going to become something that is really important. It's really big on the STAR test, and eventually we will get into the calculator with this new stuff. But for right now, we're going to just teach you, like I said, just some of this new stuff. But like I said, this new stuff, there's a lot more of it on the STAR test. Except for today's. There might be one question, but today's is, of everything that we're covering for the next few weeks, today's is the least of the important stuff. So that's why I was okay with doing this writing assignment today, because we can go over this new stuff real quick. And then starting tomorrow, we're going to hit some really important stuff. Okay. And we're going to be really focused in on it for a while, and hopefully get really good at it. Okay, so with that being said, I am not going to make y'all, well, let's just say, we're obviously not going to do all this, okay? This was the worksheet that we were going to do before they told me to do the writing. If you get done writing, then you can turn your sample into, so it's a lot. What you've done right now is great, but remember, there's 3 other things you can talk about. Sometimes you get no solution, and when you get no solution, it actually gives you no solution. If it gives you crazy C, then it's infinite, and then sometimes if it gives you an error message, that means you typed it in. Okay. Sorry, I'm old and decrepit, so it's taking me a while to pass this away. All right. So like I said, we're obviously not going to do everything here. And we're going to just try to, like I said, get through this today quickly. And then that way tomorrow we can move on to the really important stuff. So today, this is called factoring. And factoring is kind of like going backwards, okay? And so y'all have done factors before. So factors, the idea of factors is nothing new to y'all. So like if we ever multiplied 6 times 5 to get 30, and I said, what are the factors of 30? Then you would say 6 and 5, okay? So factors are simply kind of going backwards and undoing it and figuring out what two things multiplied to make that right there. So if we look at today's assignment right here, let me see if I can make this a little bit bigger. All right. So what we've been doing is multiplying. That's one of the things we've been doing. You don't have to write this down. Just watch it real quick. So I'm going to go quick. So we've been doing these mountaintops, right? And then 5 times 4 would give me 20. There's 3 b's right there. So 20b to the third. Then we did the second mountaintop, right? And this 4b is going to each of these. So I'm multiplying this 4 to each of these. And it gave me a negative 16b squared. And then the last one gave me a positive 16b, right? That's what we've been doing. Today, we're going to go backwards, okay? Now, I'm going to skip down to some multiple choice just because I think it'll make more sense with multiple choice. So today, we're going to go backwards. And we're going to look at this and say, there is something that got multiplied and gave us this right here. And we want to know what is it. Now, the reason why I like multiple choice is because we can use the answers to help us. Oh, gotcha. So when you look at this, either it's the number 1, because there's a number 1 right there, or it's the number 9. Okay? So you can do 2 things at this point. Either you could divide all these by 9, or use your answers. Let's multiply right here. I personally like to multiply. What's 9 times 10? 90. Is that what our first number is right here? Is 90? Okay. So both B and D look good. But do you see C right here? C says 9 times 2. That's 18. That can't be our answer. Okay. Now, both of the next ones have a 5 and both of them have a 9. Okay. So now this is going to come down to the small number, okay? This 8 right here. So how did they get 8? Did they add 3 plus 7 or 2 plus 6? Which of them gives them 8? Remember, you're adding them. 3 plus 7 would be 10. 2 plus 6 would be 8, right? It was the 2 plus 6, so your answer is D. So what we're trying to do is they're going to give you this right here, kind of what's the final answer, and we got to go find the original problem, okay? Now, if you're really good at math, you might be able to just look at this and figure some stuff out. Matter of fact, I will tell you the secret to the letters. Y'all want to know the secret to the letters? Find the smallest number up here in the original problem. What was the smallest number up here? That 2 right there, wasn't it? Look at our answer. What was the answer that came out right here? The 2, okay? All right, so take a look at this one right here. So first off, what number goes into all of these? Well, it's either 10 or 2. Now, 2 actually does go into all these, but we always want the biggest number. Does 10 go into all those? Yeah, okay, so we want the bigger number, so it's definitely not B, okay? All right, now, and this isn't going to, oh wait, all of these have this. I was going to say, look at the smallest letter up there would be B to the 4th, but all these say B to the 4th, don't they? Okay, so that doesn't help. Oh, okay, I see. Let's just multiply the big number right here. What's 10 times 7? Or negative 70, right? What's 10 times negative 35? That's like 350, isn't it? Well, I need to have 70, so it's not this one. What's 10 times 105? Yeah, it's a big number right there. So it's definitely not that one. So the answer is A. So all we're doing, like I said, is kind of going backwards. And the easiest way to go backwards is to use your answers. Okay, so if you will use your answers, then this should be something hopefully that's not too bad. Now, in the end, this right here, you might see one question on the STAR test. All right. So if you're still sitting there going, yeah, coach, I'm just as confused as I have been all week, that's okay. It's tomorrow's stuff that we've got to be good at. We got to start getting really good at. Okay. And like I said, I'll be even if you're bad at tomorrow's stuff, when we introduce the calculator, automatically everybody gets good. Okay. So, and we're going to introduce the calculator pretty quickly. I'm ready to move into that calculator. All right. So taking a look at this one, guys, they've already told you what the number is. It's 7. All we have to do is figure out which of these, when we multiply it, makes this right here. Okay. So when we multiply this, 7 times 6 is 42. Are there 2 X's and 1 Y? Yes. A has 2 X's and 1 Y. Look at B. When we multiply this, are there 2 X's and 1 Y? No. So it's definitely can't be B. What about C? Yeah, when we multiply that, there's 2 X's. It's definitely 42, but then there's 2 X's and 1 Y. What about D? There's 2 X's and 2 Y's, so nope, that's not it. All right. Both of these have 9X, so there's no point in looking at that. So both of those would create the 63X. So the question is which of these last ones create 56? Is it 7 times 16 or 7 times 8? 7 times 8 would make 56, so it's not this one. So the answer is C. Even if you're terrible at all of this, if you can do at least the first one, at least take care of the first one. We need numbers that multiply to make 32 right here. Does 8 times 16 make 32? No, there's no way that makes 32. It's way too big. 16 times 4, you can throw that in your calculator. 16 times 4 would actually be 64, I think. Is that right? So it's not this one. What about 20 times 8? Nope, that doesn't make 32. What about 8 times 4? Yes, that makes 32. Now, okay, this one went straight to an answer. It's not always going to do that. But you should be able to eliminate some stuff, okay? So at least take care of that right there, okay? Give it to Coach back there. And then, Coach, if you'll hook her up with some candy. And then go ahead and just throw that one away. All right, so let's look at this one real quick. Oh, shoot, what I did. All right, so let's look at this one. Now, one of the great things is you can see on this paper that there's a lot that doesn't have multiple choice. On the STAR test, does this question have to be multiple choice? It has to be. Okay, there's no way that you can have this question and it be like a griddable. How would you grid this? Does that make sense? So this has to be multiple choice. So this idea that you can use your answers always to help you is true, okay? So once again, at least take care of the first thing. 18 times 18, is that going to make 36? No, not 18 times 18. That's 280, 264? 2?
Yeah.
No.
No, wait. What did you say?
18 times 18.
Well, less than 400.
Yeah, I know it's less than 400. 324, I think. 324. Man, my algebra teacher, he's so disappointed in me. She had us memorize the squares to 30. It's 324. Really? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 324. All right. So now look at this one. What about 6 times negative 6? Okay, that makes 36, doesn't it? Okay, so, all right, that's okay. Right here, we got 6 times 6. That makes 36. What about 6 times 18? Nah, 6 times 18 is going to be way too big. And in the end, you can use your calculator right there. All right, so now if we really want the answer, we got to find something that's different in these. Because if they're the same, it's not going to do us any good. It's the C's right here. We need to look only at the C's. We should be able, now we're looking at the second one, so this is the second one right here. How many C's should I have in total right here? 4. So I've got to add the C's I have here plus the C's I have here. So I have 1 C plus 2 C's, that makes 3 C's. Now, I don't like that, I need 4. I have 1 C here plus 3 C's. Okay, that adds up to 4 right there. That's my answer. Okay, so using your answers to help you, okay, is the easiest thing. You could have said, well, no, both of those had that right there. Yeah, really the best thing you can do right there is use your answers. Okay. So right here, we need our front number to be 16. Is this going to create a 16 right there? What number's right here? A 1. So 1 times 8, does that make 16? No. What about 2 times 16? Is 2 times 16 16? Okay, clearly not. If you don't know this one, you could always throw it in the calculator. So anytime you don't know something, you can throw it in the calculator. 3 times 32. Yeah, it's definitely not 16. It's bigger than 16 already. What about 2 times 8? Yes. So we want to make these as simple as we can.